Run it, brother.
Are you sure?
Just trying to get it together here.
Well, apparently you haven't got it together.
You gotta open the damn show in order for me to start.
Oh, I want to do it right now. Welcome to episode 14 of Fantasy Friends.
That was very militant. I don't know if I feel comfortable.
Welcome to episode 14 of Fantasy Friends. I'm your host, Magellan, introducing the blackest of the black. Who's not really that black. You can almost call him black-ish. Akimbo Merk.
It really depends on who I'm hanging out with, but since I'm hanging out with you, I have lowered the blackish level to about a 3.
I think there's a remote.
I am drinking Kool-Aid though.
So you're dipping into a 4.
Dipping into a 4.
So what have you been saving for the show?
A ton of things, man. At first I didn't think I was going to have anything, and then we get to talking about putting this show together, and I was like, all right, what's been going on in my life that is of importance that I can share with the people that I love, me, because I love to hear myself talk. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to hear me talk. Yes. Did my taxes today. It took about 20 minutes. I said I wasn't going to talk about it on the show, and I'm not. So
it's just funny because you're thinking, I did my taxes. It took me a couple hours. You're like, I did my taxes and it took me about 20 minutes.
Took me about 20 minutes, and the lady showed me how to get the hookup next year. So I'm coming for you, Uncle Sam.
Ooh.
It needs to get paid.
Taken.
Look, my wife will tell you, I've always wondered how so many people, you hear people talking, I'm getting like 10 G's, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't got no kids, and nice just you working like pay less.
Yeah.
I'm still getting like 10 G's back. I'm like, and so I always figured these people were cheating, somehow in their taxes. So I'm like, man, last thing I need to do is get audited and be trying to pull out receipts from 20 years ago or whatever. So I just always tried to do my taxes the right way.
Yeah.
I think maybe one year I went to a guy who was maybe kind of shady.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was nervous the whole time, so I couldn't do it. My wife, she's funny.
You were nervous?
I filed the taxes and like I doubled what I had like the year before.
Like, were you nervous because this guy was like down the alleyway doing taxes behind a dumpster nervous?
Dude, he was like in a hole in the wall, and you had to bring him like a fifth of some type of dark liquor. I can't remember what it was. And that's all he wanted to do, your taxes. So I remember I had to drive and pick up the check. I was like, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. So that happened. I ain't never been back. But since then, man, I've been doing them the right way because I didn't do them the wrong way that time, but I started using a reputable firm.
Yeah.
Because I'm married with kids, and last thing I need is for my wife to call me and say, "Sweetheart, we're being audited."
Yeah.
So just fear. You make a lot of decisions out of fear, man. And I can't lie, I made it. Probably still making decisions out of fear, but that ain't what I want to talk about today, man. How about this? How about we do it like this?
Okay.
That's what I saved for the show.
Yeah.
You tell me what you saved for the show, and then the stuff that I want to talk about. I'm going to tie it into today's topic. So, Magellan, what have you been saving for the show, sir? You should say You shouldn't say You shouldn't suck your teeth. We're doing a podcast. We're not eating chicken, watching the game.
Going off of what dude, honestly, save it for the show segment. Dude, there's been a lot going on.
Okay.
And right now, I'm tired.
And there you have it, folks. He's been saving that for the show.
No, man, it's just because I got recently one of the guys who has been with me for a while.
Yeah. Right.
He ended up going to another company, and that kind of puts a void where we're at. So I'm having to do his job on top of my job on top of finding someone else to do his job.
Ugh.
So it's just a lot of things. It's typical managing stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
but I mean, other than that, man, something, more, I guess, off of the work subject. No one just talk about work. It's a podcast. You want to listen to this at work and not think of work.
Right.
So
they don't want to hear that.
Went to Petco today.
Ooh, this sounds juicy.
Oh yeah, it's good. So I went to Petco today. And the reason why I went there is because I've been wanting to get my bird one of those. They have the branches that you can actually put on the cage, that mimic tree branches. And so I wanted one that, because he climbs out of the cage, he squeezes out of it, and he gets on top of the cage a lot. So I wanted to find him something like a branch to put on top of it.
Like what real birds do,
like
get on branches,
yeah.
Not cages.
Yeah, so I wanted that. So I initially went in there.
Let me ask you this, though. Hold on.
Yeah.
Owning a bird has got to be one of the most selfish pet ownerships in the world, because here you have this animal created to fly and soar and probably be the freest animal in the kingdom of animals, and you lock it up in a cage so you can admire its beauty and then give it a fake tree branch.
And that was the thought today I had, because I accidentally bumped up against, not loud or anything to scare them, but I bumped up against one of the doors that they were all in, and it went dead silent. Ooh. They all stopped moving. Ooh. And the first thought, it wasn't that I startled them, because they have so many kids bumping into them and trying to touch them and everything. The first thought, which was a depressing thought, was the door. The part I hit was the door. It was kind of, it was latched, but it was a little loose. And the first thought that popped up was, these guys probably think someone's trying to open the door and take one of their buddies away from them.
Wow!
Like, that was my first thought. I was like,
it's the man.
And I was like trying to like get him happy. I was trying to talk to him.
Wait, what?
I was like, hey, man, it's going to be all right. Hey, listen, I'll get you out of here one day.
Could you imagine the face they were making? Like, what makes this dude think we happy? We should be flying right now. I could be in Arizona soaking up the sun.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at his stupid human face talking like I speak English.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this guy.
A bird's life. It's a bird's life.
So I went in there, and you're right, man. I mean, it's, these big stores breed these birds, and, they get so sick and all these, and it's a.
And you own one.
Yeah, I own one.
So you're part of the problem.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I like to think of myself as, they're doing it. Can I stop them? No, I don't have enough money or resources to.
Wow. So instead of trying to stop them, you decide to just roll with the flow and support them and encourage them?
I decided to save multiple bird lives and at least let them live happy in my environment.
Wait. What makes you think these cage birds are happy? You are a bird trader. Okay? You're a bird trader. That's what it is, bro. You are a part of the problem. Okay, you get mad at my people for eating chicken, but at least the bird goes on to wherever bird heaven is. Your bird is stuck in purgatory. Human purgatory.
My bird is spoiled bird. This bird does whatever he wants. And Yasmin's going to get mad at me right now. But this bird flies he does whatever he wants. When Yasmin's not gone, that cage.
Fly out of the house and be a bird. All right, I'm gonna leave you alone.
No, but that's kind of how I think of it, because same thing with Twister. With Twister and Noodle, when we got them, same thing. I saved Twister from a shelter. And with Noodle, I saved him from the family that he had. He came smelling like cigarette smoke and fleas. But
maybe that was just the life he was living. You know what I mean? Was he happy smoking?
No,
You know what I
why
mean?
would you be
just kicking it.
heavy
Maybe he was
inhaling
a hippie
smoke?
dog.
No,
And
he
didn't
wasn't
want
a
to
hippie
bait.
dog. No, he's
Did he
super.
tell you he wasn't happy?
Yeah, he did. Whenever he got to
That's
me,
what.
and he was like,
Dog
"Dude,"
talk to you.
he was like, "Bro, please, I'll do anything right now. Just take
You know
me
what?
down the street."
I'm calling Sarah McLachlan on you because
In the
these dogs need to be in the arm of the angel right now, and not a bird trader
yeah,
who's using these birds and these dogs to build himself up to be some type of hero. You're not a hero, bro.
I think that's
You're not.
really what I do. I'd
You're
like to
an animal
gather
cager.
animal cager.
Animal cager. But tell me about this fake branch you bought. This
No, I
branch
didn't.
that's supposed to bring so much joy.
That's the thing. I didn't. I couldn't find one that went on top of the cage.
So the bird didn't even get a branch.
No, but I did get him a because I've been trying to. He's been getting out, so I've been letting him get out. I've been opening the cage for him and letting him fly around and do that. Because what he does, his personality now is built around. Because we used to have two, and one got sick a long time ago, and he ended up dying. And this one was really. He was just all about sticking with the bird. He never let anyone touch him. He's really hard-headed. And now the way he's grown over the last year or so, year and a half, if me and the dogs, or if he can't see anything moving, anybody, and he hears us, that's when he gets out. He's like, all right, I need to find out what's going on. And he'll come over to wherever we are at. Like, he loves seeing the dogs when we're playing with them. Like, he loves that, man. He jumps on the cage. He's trying to squeeze out.
Yeah, he want that freedom they have.
And he just doesn't.
That's what it is. Why can't I be like Twister?
Yeah.
And what's the other dog's name? Rolo? Why can't I be like Twister and Rolo? Look at the freedom they have. Look how the master rubs them and kisses them and feeds them while I'm stuck in these bars. Why am I behind bars?
It seems probably a typical bird owner's like that, but for us, man, I pull I pull him insight.
Right.
What's up?
You're a bird cager.
Oh,
bird
God. This bird's spoiled. This bird probably eats better than most kids do. This bird has more toys than other kids do. This bird does whatever he wants.
And there you have it, folks. Things you tell yourself when you're trying to be the hero, but you're really a bird cager.
But that's it, man. But my whole thing is you drug me out
bird
to look like an animal abuser. But
you are. I'm just saying. What's the name of the bird?
His name is Night Snow, guardian of Troop Tower.
That's abuse right there. Just the name itself. Night Snow, guardian of what? What tower? Truth Tower?
Troop Tower.
I ain't gonna say nothing else.
But he loves us. We love him. He's got it's funny, and this is what, and I think I said this to you. You can't tell me that God doesn't exist, because every animal, the two dogs that I have and the bird, when you look at them, dude, there's so much personality like in each one of them, and it's just wild to see, because some of them mimic Yasmin, some of them mimic me, and it's just, I mean, you can't tell. Hey, man, it is what it is. You believe what you want to believe, but the proof is in the pudding.
You should just name the bird Toby.
No.
What's your name, boy? Toby. Kunta Kinte.
Toby.
Your name Toby. Or in your case, Night Shadow Bird Watcher Tower dude.
That's right. And he loves it.
You know what? I'm gonna take a break and cry for the bird, have a vigil for the bird.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and get into the podcast, I guess.
Yeah. That's fine. That's right.
Fly away.
No, he can't fly away. He's caged.
One day you'll escape, little birdie.
He's not.
Fly away.
He actually just tweeted me for you to go to break because he's about to finish his 4-course meal.
I'm trying to eat. Can you tell him, Kimball Burke, to be quiet? He's disturbing my freedom.
Let's take a break.
Bird cager.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
1 being black, 10 being black. Where are you at?
Welcome back to episode 14. I want to continue having this conversation that we were having while you guys were while we were away at the break, because it ties into our topic today, where we're going to talk about social security.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, social security, as you guys know it, your social security number, your social security benefits, but just overall social security and the idea behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were talking about pets over the break, and God, I lost my thought. I hate my thought. What were we talking about?
We were talking about like the good and the bad.
Yeah, thank you. So we were talking about the good and the bad of having a pet or human nature, and what kind of ties into this topic is knowledge and what you do with it.
Yeah,
you know, you can have knowledge of something, and the knowledge itself isn't bad or good, but it's the user of this knowledge.
Yes.
Which is the same with the pet owner. Yeah. You know, the dog itself isn't good or bad, but it's what the pet owner does with the dog or teaches the dog to do.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. And so, you know, and that kind of ties in where we're going to some of the stuff I want to talk about today. So let me just get into it, man. This past Sunday we had the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting, you know, everybody does what they do for the Super Bowl. You either go to somebody's house, you go out to a bar, you get some good food, some good company, you celebrate. You know, everybody knows to look out for the commercials. The commercials are kind of famous for being unique or funny, and everybody wants to see them just as much as they want to see the game.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other thing you have is you got the halftime show.
Yeah.
You know, which everybody wants to see that as well. And so, you know, me being the conspiracy theory guy that I am, I was excited to see the halftime show because traditionally, I'll say maybe from when I started getting into conspiracy theories, you would look at the halftime shows in the past, and it would be ripe with Illuminati symbolism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so before this halftime show started, I was cocky, texting my friends like, all right, man, you're gonna see this type of symbolism, you're gonna see this, you're gonna see that, just watch. And then the Super Bowl, the halftime show happened, and I was like struggling to find the symbolism that I was so used to seeing.
Yeah.
You know, the bathroom mat, the triangle, the black and white checkered background, you know, the fallen angel, like Madonna, she did a very heavy, deep one. The dualism that or Beyonce did in her performance. I was looking for all the stuff and I wasn't finding it, right?
Well, the reason why is plain sight, because you got to understand that Jay-Z is ahead in the Illuminati. So he was right there in plain sight. So was his wife. You just didn't see it.
But it's interesting because it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah.
Because after the halftime show, when I was kind of dumbfounded, because I didn't really see, I saw some stuff, but it wasn't in your face stuff, and it threw me off. So I immediately went to Twitter, and you go to Twitter because I know people are going to be tweeting about the game and tweeting about the halftime show, and all I saw was a lot of people saying, "Ha ha, you know, you Illuminati nuts. There was nothing in this show," and just tweet after tweet after tweet. And I'm like, man, what's going on? You know, what happened? It just threw me off.
Yeah.
You get so used to Norman seeing stuff, and it just threw me off. So I said, all right. So the next day happened, and honestly, this is an honest statement.
Yeah.
I was down a little bit.
Yeah.
I was down because I wasn't.
Because the Illuminati didn't make as much as a bang as you wanted.
The Illuminati disappointed me, dude. I was like, hey, where's your stuff at, right? So I was a little down, but not because of that, really. The true reason I was down was because I had been studying and researching this stuff so deep over the last few years that I was at a point where I thought I kind of had mastered it.
Yeah.
And that I mastered it to the point where I could share it, felt comfortable sharing it with other people in a confident way.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, you know, what's going on? You know, what did you see? What did you see? Break it down, Mark. And so, and then I kind of had the mindset of, all right, there are a lot of people out there who are much more intelligent and much more knowledgeable about these things. And I know that the videos are going to come out and they're going to break down the Super Bowl halftime show
Yeah.
and tell me the things that I didn't miss. I mean, things that I missed.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I kind of had a fallback on that. But I was like, all right, it's all about symbolism. Why is it all about symbols? Why is it always about symbols? And I went to studying symbols and why they're so important. And it was just kind of like somebody had lifted the blindfold off my eyes.
Yeah.
And I promise I'm going to tie this all into Social Security. And just give me 5 minutes and I'm going to bring it all full circle for you.
Yeah. You sound like me right now.
Yeah. And so the build up. I started learning about the various archetypes of symbols, the origin of symbols and why they're used and what they mean. And here's what I learned, which was very important. And this ties into the show. The occult. There's two sides to the occult. The knowledge that they have is the knowledge of the human psyche and the knowledge of the natural order of creation. Okay. Those are the two things. And this is just knowledge itself.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily good knowledge or bad knowledge. It's what you do with it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, you might have a psychologist who knows this stuff, but they use it to help people heal.
Yeah.
Right? You might have advertising company who uses this stuff and they use it to sell a product.
Yeah.
Whether it's a good product or bad product, that's a different story. It's just the knowledge of it, right?
So it's like the Force.
It's like the Force, but let me put it a different way. It's like knowing the blueprints of a house that you live in. So your house was built. It just didn't pop up. Somebody made a blueprint of it, and then they went out and built it, right?
Yeah.
Well, the knowledge is the blueprint behind it.
Yeah.
And it goes toward they know the knowledge of the human psyche, a knowledge of the world that we live in. When you know these things, you know what triggers a human.
Yeah.
You know what triggers certain things in our world. And so then now you can use these triggers to manipulate society. And this is what advertisement does.
Yeah.
So when advertisement uses a certain song or a certain color or a certain symbol, they know that these things are going to elicit a response out of you.
Yeah.
All right. I know I'm getting kind of deep, and I said I would, but I'm going to back it up later. So that's why I started.
Yeah.
And so once I learned the archetypes of these symbols, the triangle, the circle, the square, the cross, once I learned what the power of these things and how they affect the human psyche, then the Super Bowl halftime show started making sense to me.
Yeah.
And it was just like my eyes opened up. Not only that, the commercials that happened during the Super Bowl, they also tied into this. So there were some themes that happened during the Super Bowl that I want to talk about. And the LG commercial, with Liam Neeson, that was a commercial about revolution. There were some symbols in there that they used. And I'm not going to get into all that because this is not a conspiracy theory show, but I want you guys, if you get some free time, to go back and look at these commercials. The other one, there was the Marvel trailer, right? Had to do with Civil War, right?
Yeah.
So you got one commercial talking about a revolution. You got another one talking about Civil War.
Yeah.
All right. And then there was the Mountain Dew commercial where they had the puppy monkey baby. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which was real weird. The baby had baby legs, a pug head, and like a monkey body, right? So what was that all about? Well, you had that Mountain Dew commercial, and then the Dorito commercial where you had the guy eating the Doritos in the delivery room, right? And the baby's kind of trying to get the Doritos, right?
Yeah.
The thing behind that one was designer babies. So when you start looking at some of the news that's been released before these commercials come out, you can see how they tie it in.
Yeah.
They just started allowing scientists to manipulate DNA, manipulate the embryo.
Yeah.
So you can have designer babies. They just made that. They just approved that. Yeah. They're also talking about chimera, which is basically a human and animal hybrid.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys say, okay, now you're getting too deep for me. But research this. Scientists in China just transferred the head of a monkey onto the body of another monkey.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They let the monkey live for 20 hours, I think they said, and then they put it down.
Yeah.
All right. So they are dabbling in this stuff. We know they're dabbling in this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we saw in our commercials. I took some notes here. There was another one too, because I don't want to miss it. You saw the Skittles commercial. and that tied into some of the colors that were used during the Super Bowl performance. But the biggest one, the one I wanted to talk about, was the actual Super Bowl performance itself.
Yeah.
It was all about peace, all about love,
Yeah.
right? It had this hippie theme to it.
Yeah.
Right? And so it had this unification theme to it. You had the whole world uniting, coming together. Even the songs they were singing about had to do with unification, right? Okay, so staying consistent with who's behind the Illuminati and how this ties into the Bible. Well, we know that in several scriptures, like 1 Thessalonians 5:3, it talks about they're going to say peace and safety, and then, it's going to end. Yeah. And then you go into the book of Revelations, and it talks about there's going to be 3.5 years of peace during the tribulation before disaster comes upon us and all of that. So what we were kind of seeing ties into this whole peace and security that they're about to try, the Illuminati and the world leaders are about to bring forth. Mm-hmm. And part of that, or not part of it, all of it has to do with the coming of the Bible says the Antichrist, who's going to actually come in peace. Mm-hmm. He's going to come and bring peace. And so that made me think, okay, where have we seen this before? Where have I seen? See, Childhood's End. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the movie I begged you to watch?
Yeah.
You had the devil or this alien come down, and what did he do? He brought us into a utopia.
Yeah.
So just kind of looking at all things that's been going on in the media and these commercials in the Super Bowl, you can kind of, again, see this theme of unity and peace and safety. And that brings me all the way back to our show today, because I said I was going to bring this back full circle. And today we're going to talk about Social Security.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to let you take over from here, that you get into what you want to talk about, and then I'll kind of finish, some of the thought that I had, just so I'm not dominating the show.
Yeah.
I need a swig of Kool-Aid.
Too late for that. No, man. That ties into exactly, what we're talking about, which is using information, to gather data and using our personal information to gather facts about us, whether it's individually and grouped up, to where you can say, hey, let me throw this out there. Let me throw this out here, this symbolism out there. Let me do this because, I know out of all the data that I've collected through all these social media outlets and all these different surveys that you take in and all these things we got from school records and all that this percentage of people watching the Super Bowl, boom, we got them here. We're going to get them to do this. We're going to get them to buy this. And this is what's going to sell at this point in time. Correct. So, you did bring it full circle, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you doing it in my long, drawn-out style.
Because it's such a plethora of so much information that, like I said, I could do a whole series on that stuff, but that's not what I want to do. Basically, what I want to tell you is that you as humans, we respond to colors, symbols, music, noises, and because they know we respond to these things in certain ways, they can present us with these things to manipulate us.
Yeah.
This is a thought I had coming home. It's like when God made us, he installed firmware. Mm-hmm. All right. That this is how we operate. The Illuminati came along and they're trying to install their software to hack us and manipulate us. Yeah. And that's exactly what advertising, does. Yeah. That's what they do that's what musicians do when they make songs. That's why when you listen to a song, it elicits a different an emotion out of you. It may make you feel good. It may make you feel sad. In fact, I guarantee you got go-to songs that if you're angry, you run and you listen to this song. Yeah. If you're sad, you run and listen to this artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All this stuff is not by mistake. This stuff is by design.
Yeah.
Even down to the album cover. They know that you're going to go out and seek these things. And it goes back to the social systems that we got set up where now they're collecting even more data on us.
Yeah.
Like you were saying. So now they can further manipulate us.
Mm-hmm.
So when did this all start? Why did this all start? It really goes back to let me get my facts right here. 1935. And Chris, you and I were talking about this. 1935, they came out with, let me back up. They signed what was called the New Deal. This was right after the Depression. This was right after the country had been manipulated into the Great Depression. It was a manipulation. The bank people said, we're going to pull all the money out. We're going to cause the stock market to crash.
Yeah.
And with it came the Great Depression. All right. What they were trying to do was take control of the United States banking system, and they did it.
Yeah.
All right. And when they did it, the president signed what was called the New Deal. Even when people told him, don't do it, don't start the Federal Reserve, we did it anyway. Part of that deal was when you were born, you are now going to be assigned a 9-digit code, which we all know today to be our Social Security number.
Yeah.
And if you know the Social Security number, you cannot function in this world without it.
Yeah.
From birth to death, you need it.
Yeah.
And I know because I've had a child and I had to get the card and put the number on the birth certificate on her card. And when she passed, I had to put it on the death certificate. It follows you.
Yeah.
You can't get a house without it. You can't get a car without it. You can't do anything without it. All right. It's your tracking ID number.
Yeah.
All right. And so we worry about the NSA today and they're spying on us, but they've been following you and tracking you since 1935.
Yeah.
Booyah.
I mean, and to think about it, you have to look at that and say, hey, listen, okay, yeah, social for work, social for this, social for that. Well, you pull up that social and then it tells you everything you want to know about where this person went to school, where they work, what kind of health problems they have, what kind of this, where they lived, all these different things. And, it's crazy to think that this number is tied into all that, but it is. And that I think is really what fueled, the new kind of the new Social Security card, which is social media, which some facts here. Twitter, 316 million monthly users, 500 million tweets sent per day. 77% of active users are outside of the United States. So we're not just talking NSA, United States of America. We're talking really, really, broad people in general. 88% of active users are on mobile devices. I mean, that's huge. Everybody lives in their phone now.
And important.
Yeah.
Well, it's important because now what this does is and Twitter does it plainly. They show you what's trending, right?
Yeah.
You always see what's trending. They put it on the side of the page so you can see what's trending. We're not the only people that's looking at what's trending. So this allows, the powers that be to take the temperature per se of the world.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? What do you believe in? What do you don't believe in? What do you like? What you don't like? And when you know this data, now I can start to feed you things to sway that trend wherever which way I want to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it all falls back to control.
Yeah. I mean, and that's exactly what we're talking about, Social Security, not Social Security. I mean, we're not talking, we're talking about our security as a society and how much information's out there. Facebook, 1.39 billion active monthly users.
It's the biggest, right?
As of the 31st of December, 2014, we know that's grown since then.
Right.
Every minute, 510 comments are posted. Every minute, 293,000 statuses are updated, and 136,000 photos are uploaded. How much information right there on hey, just got fired today. Hey, listen, so-and-so this. Hey, listen, putting your life stories out there on top of now all these photos of what you look like now, who you're with, who you've been with. And, tracking that stuff doesn't seem like, oh, well, what can the government do with that? What can, the people behind, the curtain do with that? And just like you said, they could say, okay, well, let's analyze everything together and boom, let's sell more of this. Boom, let's get this voted. Boom, let's do this. And then you start having where, which we joke around all the time, but it's the truth. People are sheep, and we call them sheeple.
We do. We call them sheeple. Yeah.
And it's just funny, man, to see these stats, and your status might not mean anything other than you're just saying, hey, guy cut me off, yada yada yada. You start gathering all this information and you start feeding it into different piles and sorting it out, and you're learning a lot. I mean, this is little pieces of information all to this big piece of the puzzle, that all finish this big puzzle of whatever's going on in society. What do we need to, how do people feel about gun control? How do people feel about this right now, hey, this shooting happened. Let's see what's going on Twitter, Facebook, the France thing. Everybody was putting up the Paris. I mean, everybody was putting up the flags, and that's not a big deal. And I'm just supporting Paris. But what you're doing is you're saying, okay, well, I know that, even down to, I know that this happened. This is my response time to it. Because the first thing you're going to do when you learn information is what? You're gonna tell somebody. You're gonna share it somehow.
Right? Yeah.
And so there's so many ways you could use social media. It doesn't matter how secure you think it is. Right. It's not. I don't care if it's private or you've done everything you can to pull information off the internet. What's there is there, and that footprint is there. There's no backtracking.
Right. So before we get into the privacy issue, let me deal with the sinister issue. Mm-hmm. All right. So one of the things I told you is that knowledge itself isn't evil. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is what the occult knows. It's the use of this knowledge that makes something, or the user of this knowledge, whether he has evil intents or good intents with it. Right. So we can collect all the data we want from social media. Yeah. But it's who is using this knowledge and why they're using this knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. So let's just take something as simple as Amazon. Yeah. So what Facebook started doing is they started, Amazon and Google, what they started doing was they said, hey, we want to track your cookies, no big deal. Yeah. We want to see the websites that you're visiting, no big deal. Yeah. So we can gear advertisement towards the things you're interested in. So it shocked me the first time it happened. I was looking for a couch cover. Mm-hmm. Right? Specifically, a brown couch cover on Amazon. Yeah. Right? On Google. The next day, when I clicked on Facebook, guess what type of advertisement was hitting me dead in my face? Hey, Mert, here's brown couch cover. Yeah. And I got my wife. I ran to my wife. I said, you got to look at this. You got to look at this. Look at this. Yeah. This was, it was like magic all of a sudden. Yeah. And, she was already hip to it. And she started telling me, they track your cookies so they can give you specific advertisements. Mm-hmm. So it's not by mistake that I love this. If you start looking at several profiles of, say, women or of cars or whatever group you're interested in, guess what Facebook is still going to start suggesting to you? Hey, have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? Have you looked at this? And it's like, wow. And so once they start taking this data and start prompting you, they're actually controlling you now. Yeah. And so what I like to do, I like to hit the little X in the corner and just hit randomly. No, I don't like this. Yeah, I like this. No, I don't like this. Yeah. And they'll even ask you now, well, why are you closing this particular ad? Or why are you closing this particular suggestion? Yeah. Because they want the feedback, so now they can tailor it even more to who you are. Yeah. All right, so the sinister side of it, and I'm just gonna tap on it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna leave it alone. Lucifer, Satan, the devil, he's not all knowing. Yeah. He's not all seeing. Okay, and the Bible tells us that we live in His kingdom. Mm-hmm. So who's all knowing? Who's all seeing? Who's everywhere? Well, God is. So in order for Satan to imitate God, he has to be able to imitate those attributes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does he do? He gathers data.
Yeah.
So he can be all knowing, all seeing, and then he can control his kingdom better. And that's the sinister side of this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so that's what I want to kind of get you guys to understand why they are doing this, and the people behind this, the people that believe in and serve a sinister plan are the ones who are manipulating this data. Again, not, the data itself is not bad, but privacy. So how we got on this topic was there were some ladies at work. I work with the older generation of women in the healthcare industry, and the hospital came around. It was some type of day where everybody was supposed to wear red. So the hospital was coming around looking to take pictures of their employees in red.
Yeah.
And there everybody's excited. Hey, everybody with red, come on to the conference room. We're going to take pictures, right? And everybody ran and got their picture taken. But what the hospital didn't tell them was, we're going to put these pictures on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And some of the ladies were freaking out like, hey, I don't have a Facebook account. I don't want you putting me on Facebook. I don't want to be on the internet. And I sat over at my desk and I laughed.
Yeah.
I laughed to the point where I had to stop and I had to tell them, I said, look, you're already on the internet.
Yeah.
No, not my stuff. Not my stuff. I'm not on there.
Yes, you are.
Let me show you. Just give me your name.
Yeah.
Right? And I already knew her name. But I said, come look.
Yeah.
The lady gave me her name. And I was able to pull up her age, her home address, her previous addresses, her parents' address, her parents' full name, their last name, cousins, in-laws, just this basic information I was able to pull up with just her name. Yeah. Not without pay. I didn't have to pay one penny, like some of these websites advertise to get more data, just her name.
Yeah.
And this, and where she worked at and the position she had at her job.
Yeah.
Was all there with the type of one name. So whether you got a Facebook account, Twitter account, or whatever, you're out there. Yeah. And she said, well, how do they have my information? And I asked her, well, what did you sign up for something on the internet? Mm-hmm. And she's racking her brain. She said, yeah, one time I signed up for LinkedIn. I said, that's all it took. Mm-hmm. That's all it took was for you to sign up for this one time. And it was the fingerprint that they needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And a lot of stuff starts opening up, and then you turn this page and this reveals more, and then this page reveals more, and that's how it goes. It's a domino effect. A little bit goes out, and then that's all it is. It's like a detective. I just need one clue.
Yeah, you nailed it, bro. Yeah,
and there it is. And it's scary to think. 75% of all internet users, everyone that goes on the internet, 75% of internet users use social media.
There it is.
I mean, that's 75% of the population who use the internet are giving information, gathering information, and what's crazy is that when you think you're just there, like you hear about the people who do the, I always joke about Wave with it. He actually jokes about me, like the Facebook stalkers. He's always it's crazy. And the perfect example, he always tells me, I'll mention something to him right off of Facebook. And he doesn't use he's got a profile, but he doesn't use it, right? So something will pop up and I'll see it'll be Wave. He'll just be tagged in it. And, for you guys who don't know, tagged in Facebook means that someone said, hey, this guy was with me and we were doing this. It's just saying, hey, this guy who's on Facebook, this is what we're doing. And, he gets tagged. His family will tag him in something and say, hey, I'm teaching him to drive, or I'm doing this or doing that. So then when I ask him about it, he's like, dude, why are you Facebook stalking me? And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you right now, it's as easy as me opening up my app and just scrolling down my timeline, and boom, there you are.
And there it
is. Without you even knowing that you're there. I know what you did last weekend,
So I'm glad you brought that up. So you could have never, ever, ever, ever in your life even signed into a computer. All you had to do was get caught in a photo, or this is the one I love. Take your school picture.
Yeah.
So say you graduated in 1963 and you're in a yearbook and somebody decided to share these yearbooks, you are now on the internet.
That's it.
And now if they tagged your name, you're now there.
Yeah.
So this whole idea of social security, this whole idea of privacy, it does not exist. Let me say this loud and clear. There is no more privacy in this world.
Yeah.
Okay, just 3 years ago, you had Microsoft and Xbox trying to put cameras in your home that was voice activated so they can see you when your system was off. When you weren't even playing the video game, the camera could follow you around your home, listen to you in your home. Yeah. In fact, do you smart TV owners know that your TV, even when turned off, if connected to the internet, is transmitting data to them? It's voice activated, right?
I love it. Yes.
So it's listening to you. Right now, people with smart TVs in their home, the NSA is listening to your every conversation and they are tracking it. And part of your purchase of that TV was your agreement to have it happen.
Exactly.
Go look at the fine print that they know we don't read.
Yeah.
We don't read and they know that.
I agree.
You know? So, let's take a break because I need to, I'm parched. And then let's wrap this topic up. Let's come back and wrap this topic up and talk about some other things let's talk about why this false sense of security exists. And I don't know.
Let's take a break.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I'll put some stuff together and let you.
Damn right you will. You're bullshit. Okay? You're bullshit.
I said you get it to the light.
Care if this dude gets a job or not. He wants to interview. I can't just hire him and then work around shit.
Welcome back to episode 14.
You're being watched. Enjoy.
Fantasy friends.
In fact, Magellan and I are spying on you right now. We are tracking every emotion that you're having as you listen to this podcast. We know that you're sad right now. You're probably crying into your ramen noodles, but that's okay because we're going to make it worse.
We're going to make it way worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you know you were up for sale?
Yeah.
Everything about you. You are a product starting with the price tag placed on you in 1935. Booyah. Tell them how they for sale. Tell them how they for sale, Magellan.
This is such a good because people don't think about this stuff. People think it is people think it's the weird guy in the 1980s chinos with the weird mustache out of the van that just so happened to swipe your credit card and now he's going on a spree. Granted, you do have that stuff, but there's been all these record number of breaches. With all the personal information that's out there. You had everything down to PlayStation breach. You had the Ashley Madison breach. You had these breaches going on where just everything's getting breached, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, it's not me. It's not affecting me. And most of the time you're right. You're not in that particular circle or your information is just not there. You don't play PlayStation, so it wouldn't be there, whatnot. But it's funny, man, because I guess let's just call it the dark web. Is where marketplaces for stolen data exist. It's a part of the internet, it's a part of the internet that you can't Google. You know what I mean? Let's just put it like that, I guess.
Right. Yeah. It's the dark alley of the internet.
Yeah. it's the dumpster right next to the dumpster that you did your taxes that one year.
Exactly.
So here's what's crazy. Quick look at just personal information that goes for sale to these people who want to buy it. Bank credentials, like your banking information. $1,000, and this is just kind of roundabout numbers here. $1,000 plus 6% of the total dollar amount in your account. U.S. credit cards with tracking data, which is account numbers, expiration, name, all that.
Right.
$12. This is how much this would cost, and this is why. I'll finish up and I'll get into something else.
Okay.
Hacking into a website. Dude, you got a couple $100 on you, boom. Get one of these dudes to hack in for you. Counterfeit social security cards, $250, $400. Counterfeit driver's license, $150. But here's the thing, it's just not these criminals that are paying for this stuff. Companies that are affected by these data breaches, they're the ones shelling out more money to, in a sense, you could say, putting out the fire.
Right.
So these people are basically saying, hey, this organization, whoever it is saying, hey, I'm going to hit up PlayStation because I want to make some money today. And what happens? They get all that information. They're like, hey, listen, I could go out and I could sell it here and I could sell this credit card here and do this and that. But how about this? How about I just give you what I just took from you and you pay me for it?
It's hostage. They're literally taking your information hostage because they know that this company is going to get hit with lawsuits after lawsuits if they don't get this data back and secure it. So a company might lose, say, 10, 20 million in a lawsuit.
Yeah.
I could come and say, listen, for 5 million, I give you the data back. This is the only source of it. How about it?
Yeah.
And companies pay.
Yeah, because it's like people run companies, and it's the same thing that you see in all these dramas and the movies. You have this guy taking a picture of, let's just say, the president and his secretary.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now now this person is saying, hey, listen, you pay me this and you take care of this and I'll give you this back. Now, here's the thing. What do we think in those shows? What do they even say in the shows? How do I know this is the only copy?
Exactly.
How do I know this is the only one? Well, you got to trust me on it. How do I know you're not coming back? You don't. You just got to say,
take that chance.
Yeah.
Do you want to take that chance?
And so that's essentially what's happening here is that these companies these people who do this stuff,
right?
Whatever their ultimate goal is, you have all these groups who are claiming, I just want to bankrupt the wicked corporations and I want to do this. Essentially, you just you're earning a living like everyone else. You're just doing it a shady way,
So it's gathering knowledge again, and instead of using it for good, I'm going to use it for evil.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Healthcare, okay. Average global cost of lost or stolen data for a company, and this was back in 2014. This was data that was collected, everything. For a data record of any sort pertaining to that individual, $154 per individual is what.
Wow.
And that is an increase of apparently 23% from the year before.
So if I go out and I steal 1 million people's data and I'm charging $150 per, I mean 150, but I call it $150 because I'm cool.
Yeah.
100 a head. Oh my gosh.
154 mil right there. Bam.
And even if I just get $100 a head. Woo.
Yeah. Oh, hey, this company stole that for 154, dude. I'll sell it back to you for 150. That's a deal.
You saving $4. Not to mention the bad press, not to mention the lawsuits.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And that was actually done by IBM and then another institution, to gather that. Healthcare companies are paying, let's see, it says healthcare companies are having to pay the most, with the average price per data record coming to $363 per data record.
Listen, my company got hit last year. We are a hospital system.
Yes.
And we got hacked last year. And how do you know if you've been hacked? You ever get like a piece of mail very thin? It's only one sheet of paper in it. And it comes in and it says, hey, we had a breach.
Mm-hmm.
Your information is safe. Blah blah blah. We're taking all the precautions to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yes,
dude. I can count maybe 5 of those I've gotten in my lifetime. And here's what's funny. Here is how you know your information isn't private. I've gotten that letter from companies that I dealt with 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I wasn't living in this address at my house 10 years ago. So how the hell do they have my address now?
Yeah.
It's because your data is out there.
Yeah.
You know, the minute you sign up for your driver's license or renew your license plate, all your information gets updated.
Yes.
You know, the minute you make a purchase and swipe your card in this neighborhood, it gets updated. Chris, when you came to Chicago and you've told this story before, what happened? You got a phone call.
We're not talking about the hooker thing. We're not talking about that.
We can if you want to.
What are we talking about?
We're at the airport.
No. See, you don't even remember. We weren't at the airport.
Let me tell it. I got this.
I want to tell this story.
Let me tell my version. You tell your version.
Okay, go.
Okay, so I picked you up from the airport and I said, hey, do you want to get something to eat or do you want to go see some hookers? And you were like, hook. I was like, cool. We're going to go see some hookers. I said, but listen, leave your wallet in the car. Did he leave his wallet in the car? No, he did not leave his wallet in the car.
No.
We're in the hotel.
Yes.
All right. We were there about 5 minutes. We were done. Yeah. Right. And your wallet went missing.
Yes.
Okay. And so later that day, you got a call. And what'd they call you about?
They were like, listen, we had $250 of condoms that were purchased at a Walgreens on this. So I went to Chicago real quick, and for the people who haven't heard a past episode or haven't heard the story, so I went there. I was there in Chicago, hitting up food joints and stuff like that, getting stuff that needed personal items. We're visiting Rick, and his family. He invited us. He was gracious enough to invite me over there and he cooked out, banging food. Amazing. Appreciate that again.
Right.
So now we're not in Illinois anymore. We crossed into Indiana.
Right.
So we go to a store there, purchase it. Once we got out of that store, I got a phone call that said, hey, listen, we need to go over some information on your card.
Right.
Because this isn't matching up.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago, Illinois purchases, anything in Illinois, in Chicago, they didn't flag because they already knew I was flying in because I used that card to purchase a plane ticket.
So we know, right.
So now when I went to, Indiana is a whole nother state, regardless of how far it actually was of a drive for us. And now the red flag pops up and they're like, hey, listen, we know you're here. What's going on? I need to know this purchase. When did you do it? Yada, yada, yada. And then they even said, how long are you going to be there so we don't flag you anymore? Like, how long? Flag. And so, I let them know what it was, and I didn't get a phone call or flagged anymore, but it's just a very small sample of how your information can be used. And like you said, that information is there. And I know we're hitting on a lot of negative parts of it, but there are very positive parts of this.
Right. That's one of the positive ways.
And it is, it is a trade-off, and you don't want to say, hey, but this particular, someone had taken my wife's credit card number and had went on a shopping spree at Sears, before the holidays. And what did they do? They gave me a call. They said, hey, what's going on? You made a purchase here. Why not even, it takes you 3 hours to go over here. Why are you making a purchase within, so much time here? Right. They tracked that. They knew that.
The time frame. They knew it down to the minute that, okay, you can't get from here to here in this time frame to make. That's what's so interesting, because I met one of the things that you did while you were in Chicago is that when we went to the zoo that day, don't judge our bromance.
I love it.
It's a bromance and it's creepy. We told you in the title.
Yes.
You had you checked in on Facebook at Brookfield Zoo.
Yeah.
It's funny because I see people checking in all the time. I never check in on my Facebook status, but that's just another way for them to track where you are. That data, that simple button you clicked on that picture went into a database, and I guarantee you it hit like wildfire and spread throughout whatever system they have now. Because we all know the internet is just a system of servers connected, right?
Yeah.
So the minute it went to the database, it went to the people who were paying for access for it, or people that you gave permission to the minute you signed up for Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're using this data. It's no different than you when you purchased the airplane ticket or the purchase that's made in this city.
Yeah.
And but your wife just made a purchase in this other city.
Yeah.
You are being tracked since 1935 when they gave you that social security number. You are being tracked.
Boom.
You are being tracked. You're being watched. You are being manipulated with this data.
Get him, Mark.
But I don't want you foolish. I don't want you unaware of this. It's already happening. It's already happening.
It's out there.
So, listen. I'm gonna give you one more example of how this data is being used in a sinister way. Okay. Magellan talked about all the hacks that's happened. Some of the famous ones: the PlayStation hacks, the Ashley Madison hacks. I think some banks have had their data hacked. These things happen. Some of these things are being done by the very people who are tracking you.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why they are allowing these hacks to take place. Let me tell you why the government is actually the ones that are doing these hacks. It is because they are moving towards a system where I don't have to rely on the internet. I don't have to rely on your phone. I don't have to rely on your social security number. We're going to, and they're doing it all in the name of peace and security. We want to be able to implant a chip inside of you. Okay? They're gonna say, hey, it's for your benefit. And you can see a report in 2007 done by Tom Brokaw where they were saying people can get chips. It's going to have your medical record. So in case you get into an accident and you don't have any identification, we know who you are.
Yeah.
Boom. They got this whole thing now where you can implant your kids with this chip. It's no different than your dog. So if something happens to them, you get a text message and you can know where they are.
I like that.
The latest thing is now I got a kid that rides the bus to school. The latest thing they got out now is, hey, we're going to put a chip in your kid. So the minute he gets on a bus, you get a notification.
Yeah, I like
the
that.
minute he goes into the classroom, you get another notification. They try to sell it to you in a way that it's going to be beneficial to you. But the fact of the matter is, the sinister thinking behind this is you have a being that is trying to be all-knowing, and he could be all-knowing if you guys are all chipped. It's coming. There are people right now in the world who have already volunteered to have this chip inserted in them. There's a whole town in, I believe it's Idaho.
Yeah.
That the whole town agreed to get these chips put in them so they could test it. So it's there.
Yeah. I volunteered. They said I could be a superhero. That's all it took.
That's it. They said he could be a superhero. And does he look super to you? Heck no. Just being honest.
Dude, I could hold my breath for like 12 seconds.
Ooh. And that chip is helping you do that?
Yeah.
You got duped.
I meant 21 seconds.
There's a bridge I want to sell you. Talk to me later. All right. Well, not to get too preachy, man, but we wanted to do this podcast, this episode, just to tell you guys that, like the ladies at work who thought their data was safe just because they didn't participate in certain areas of social media, that's a lie.
No, and there's nothing, and it's. I wish there was a happy ending to say, hey, listen, here's some tips and tricks and things like that. But with how today is, all you need to do is be born, and that's it.
You're in the system.
That's it. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't. There's all these sites out there that claim they can do this, that, the other. You're going to waste your money. You're going to pull yourself off of the first or second page of Google to the third. You're still there.
Yeah. You're still there.
All that's going to happen is you're paying, you're paying this company who's probably, got your information in the first place, putting it out there. You're just telling them to just back it up. So it's not, who goes past page 3 or 4 in Google. You know what I mean?
Me, I do when I'm stalking. Yeah,
Yeah, when you're stalking people.
only when I'm stalking.
When you're stalking pregnants.
Do you know that? Ooh, don't say that word.
Pregnant furs.
Do you know now the police now uses your Facebook to build a profile up on you. So if you're a high school kid or any high school kid, if you are posting pictures of you partying and drinking, smoking weed and kicking it, that now goes into your police record.
Boom.
So when you get arrested and they want to build a case against you, all they got to do is pull up your Facebook profile, your Twitter profile, your Tumblr profile, and they're going to show you half naked. They're going to show the pictures that you look at. They're going to show the drugs that you were celebrating with. They're going to show the people you hung out with, and they're going to build a criminal profile against you. Yes. And this is how worse it's going to get.
Yes.
If you've ever seen the movie Minority Report,
yes,
where they were arresting people for thought crimes.
Dude, Tom Cruise is sexy. Go ahead.
Dude, you know they got a new Top Gun coming out, right? They are going to try to pass legislation and laws that says that we have built a profile on this person and he is thinking about committing a crime and you're going to be arrested for the thought of a crime.
Yeah.
It's common. They already have the technology out there. So I don't know. I don't have anything good to tell people.
It's not. But I want to finish on.
Just be informed.
I want to finish this, wrap it up on a positive note.
Okay.
Like you said, you can use the data for bad or good, depending on who you are. And most of people out there have bad intentions, you know.
Right.
But on the positive side of things, you know, the way that social media is designed and how it is, you can save lives. There's Amber Alerts. There's, you know, children are missing. Boom, right there. Someone's parent, you know, escaped the house. Boom, you got it there.
True. No, that's true.
You know, and weather reports. You know, you have all these things. You know, really, kind of what happened whenever our electricity went out. Guess what? I still had a satellite with data, and I could say, okay, what's going on? When am I going to get power? Do I need to prepare for the worst or what? Right. And it, you know, the technology's out there to where, hey, we're fixing it. We'll let you know. It's going to be within this time frame. Don't freak out, whatever it is. But also you can say, hey, is this weather going to hit harder? Should I leave? You know, and there are positives to this, but there's just more negative stuff there. And even if you don't think it's negative, you know, I don't know what's I don't know what could be eviler than someone taking you just loving your family and friends and sharing your life with them to manipulate things and sell you things. And I just think that's just evil, you know?
Right. Yeah. I'm glad that you tried to you put a positive spin on this and you hit a lot of good stuff. I use Facebook to reconnect with people that were in my life in a positive way, and I can reconnect with them. Yeah. You know, to catch up with them and say, hey, what's going on now? You know, I use Facebook to share the gospel. I use Facebook to share conspiracy theories to get people to think this is what's going on. I use it as a way to inform the masses in a sense, you know. Yeah. So there are positive things you can do with social media. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't want to poo-poo it in that way.
Which you did.
The best thing you could do.
You put your butt on the ground and you drug it back and forth on the carpet.
I poo-pooed it. The best thing you can do, though, is put positive energy, positive data into the social system. Yeah. Don't use it to tear people down. Yeah. Don't use it for ill intent. You know what I mean? And it goes back to the principle that's in the Bible. You reap what you sow. So sow good things into social media. Yeah. And I think that you can reap a reward from it and you can make a difference in other people's lives. You know, again, it goes back to knowledge and we can wrap the show up on this. Knowledge is not in itself is not evil. Yeah. It is what you do with it.
Fantasy friend fact.
This has been episode 14. If you guys want to talk to us, give us some feedback, you can find us on Twitter. We're at FanFriedPod. On Twitter, we got a Gmail account, fantasyfriendpodcast@gmail.com. We got a YouTube page. You can go and leave some comments on the episode. And of course, you can always find us on Facebook, Fantasy Friends Podcast. Man, I enjoyed this show. I apologize if it came across as too preachy.
Yeah,
I love you guys. I love sharing this data. I want to make people aware. I just do. I want you to know what's going on in this world today, because it may just save your soul.
It will. Well, basically, it will. You don't have to change. You just gotta listen to me. I'm BFFs with a very important person. I'm not talking about Merc. You just listen to me.
Big guy in the sky.
And you listen to Merc. And we will guide you to where you need to be. I said we will guide you to the light. I'm done.
Man, thanks for listening.